to the STPL. My name is Kix, and joining me when it loads is Rapid. He's actually going to be joining us for a little bit.
Yeah, probably, hopefully, maybe more than a little bit. Also have to mute my stream. There he goes. Yeah, I will be flying to Russia to the Corrupted Cup in I have to leave for the airport in 3 hours. So I packed almost none of my stuff, and I decided to waste some more time with STPL to help me procrastinate and also to cast some games. So hopefully things go well tonight, Kix.
They should do. I mean, maybe we'll get struck by the 6-minute curse and you'll be done in half an hour. You never know.
Yes.
You can never tell with the STPL. So let's have a quick look at our first matchup of today. It is going to be aSh versus Eternal Friends. Once again, EF's logo is not loading, and I still cannot figure out why, so we'll figure that out.
They have the best logo, Kix.
They do. They do. Hold on. I've got an idea. We're gonna do this.
I love it when Kix gets ideas, guys. It's so exciting.
I have a cunning
never know what to
plan.
expect. Oh yeah?
Yeah.
When you open the dictionary, on the definition next to cunning, it's just a picture of Kix's face.
It's
All the
either that
cool
or
kids say he
Baldrick's.
has cunning plans.
Yeah, here we go. So where are EF? Okay.
Oh my goodness, Kix. Kix, are you the smartest person?
I am.
Wait, how do you take the background? Oh my gosh. How did you do that, Kix? Kix, are you the Wizard of Oz?
I am the technical Wizard of Oz. That's self-proclaimed title. But aSh versus EF should be a pretty cool matchup. aSh historically didn't do super good in Season 1, but they've done a lot better here in Season 2. I know they've lost both of their matches so far, but they've had some really close series, and I'm sure this one will be close as well. EF...
You gotta start somewhere.
Yeah, and EF are a brand new team to STPL Season 2, the Liquipedia STPL Season 2, I might add. They haven't done perfectly so far. They have actually lost both of their series, but they definitely have a strong roster, so it just goes to show how strong really all of the teams are.
So what you're saying is that because both of these teams have lost both of their games, we're forcing one of them to not be a loser tonight.
Yes, exactly. You are the smartest person, Rapid, but let's quickly fix their logo here as well, because that is a power I have. And there we go. We're going to start with a TVZ between Hit'em Up and Ozuna. Game 2, unfortunately, was a walkover. Too Many Links Pro couldn't make it, so Pinkbrush takes the win on BlitzX. Then we're going to have a TVT between Radley and Blaze. And we're going to have a PBZ between Dreamer and Chaylin.
Wow, we actually have a pretty nice variety there. It's like we got a TVZ, and then TVT, and then TVP. So we got all three of the matchups. And then we have a ZVP.
Well, we don't have the TVP, but yeah, the other ones we've got. It's pretty cool. And it's weird to have the...
Wait, yes, we do. Oh, well, we don't have... Okay, all right.
Yeah, that's the
I
walkover. The weird thing is we have a mirror, and it's not a PvP. Is this real life? Are we actually here?
How do I even cast this? Like, I only know how to cast CVZ's Kix.
Well, I mean, after the CVZ we had on BSL at the end of last week, it's hard to carry that one up. That was a really cool game. But starting us off here is going to be Hit'em Up for aSh. He is currently working as their captain, and he is currently 4-0 against Zerg, beating both Jaeyun, Kingpin, and Dark as part of those wins. So beating Jaeyun in a TVZ is really, really, really good.
Yeah, Hit'em Up's by far, I don't want to say the best player on his team, but it's certainly very, very good. Definitely one of the guys that got a ton of wins for aSh last season. And aSh didn't do incredibly last season, but they also were not the worst team for sure.
Yeah.
And Hit'em Up is, definitely a great player on the roster.
Yeah, and his opponent going to be for EF, it's going to be Ozuna. Now, Ozuna, we don't have many stats to go on, so there's not really too much we can say, but he did lose a ZVZ. That was the game where... Oh wait, no, I was thinking this was the Neo Arcanoid game, but it says Desperado there. Never mind, ignore me. We are going to be heading into map number 1. It's going to be New Tornado. Now, New Tornado, one of my favorite maps from this season so far, and we've had some really sick games here.
Yes. Oh, sorry. That was where I talk. Yeah, this is, I want to say, the most standard of our maps because it's just kind of a big open space, but it has those platforms outside your natural expansion, which can be super annoying. So definitely watch out for those.
Yep, so without further ado, let's get into game number 1. It's Hit 'em Up versus Ozuna. Ah, sorry, Darking. Okay, Darking must have subbed in and no one told me. This is cool.
How dare they?
Yeah, we're good at this. This is going well today, but it's all good. So
I was gonna
Darking,
say,
another Zerg
how could
player.
I introduce? We just introduced the players, and now I have to introduce different players. Kicks.
Yes, it's confusing, man, but we'll get there. Luckily enough, Darking hasn't actually played in the STPL, so we didn't miss any of the statistics. But Darking,
Oh.
over here in the top left-hand corner, in the dark blue, or navy blue, I guess it is, fighting for EF.
Oh, yeah, and his opponent is in the red, playing for aSh as Terran. It's Hit 'em Up.
Now, it's been so long since I've actually seen Hit 'em Up play a TVZ that I'm not entirely sure what style he's going to go for. I mean, if you think about how the game's changed in the last 4 months, mech is becoming a lot more prevalent, so I wonder if we'll see Hit 'em Up go for that kind of style.
You know, when you say mech is becoming more prevalent, Kicks, what? So there's a bunch of different kinds of mech, and I think specifically TVZ, you used to go like bio first, and then try to either bust their sunkens or get a science vessel or two, kind of do that. But then you would lift all your racks and lay down like 6 factories, and then you'd switch like hard switch into mech. And that was a really hard timing because a lot of times Zerg players could put on so much pressure, it would force you to pump bio and really delay your mech switch.
Yeah.
But that's not the kind of mech that people are doing these days.
Yeah, nowadays people are going back to the more like 2008, 2009 style that Fantasy used to use a lot. It is a slight variation on that because the build has evolved, kind of how the mech switch evolved as well. But essentially, you open up gas like we see Hit 'em Up doing. It's not usually the 1-1-1 build anymore. We did see that a lot last year, but that's kind of been phased out where Zerg kind of realized, hey, we used to beat this in 2009 with 2-hatch Muta, why don't we just do that again? And they've kind of countered that, but the basis of this mech is you go for 2 factories, you go for an armory, you're pretty much safe against Mutalisks, and then you kind of go for a timing off of, well, there's a couple of variations. You either go for a timing or you expand off of 3 factories, so lots of options.
Yeah, one thing I've seen a lot, I was watching some like 2.2 Korean streamer. I don't think he's like a known pro player, but the idea that he was trying out was going 3-hatch Muta, and they cannot build enough Goliaths to beat +1 Carapace 3-hatch Muta. You literally walk into their like army, so you Muta micro the first control group, and then you come back and you've got like 2.5 control groups of mutas, and they have +1 armor with +2 on the way, and they just like Goliaths cannot beat that. Like the damage break points for numbers of missiles it takes to kill mutas is just insanity. It's like 30 missiles per muta, so just chill out, Goliaths. But obviously this is like very scoutable. You just get scanned and it's like, okay, well what's this guy doing? And speaking of what's this guy doing,
Yeah.
Kicks, why is there a 3rd hatchery on location?
Well, Darking is going for a style you don't really see, because against bio it's just really bad. But it's kind of a risk. You build your 3rd hatchery that you would be getting anyway, and you just build in another base. Now, the reason why this would be bad against the bio opening is you just get Medic Marine and you push it. But if you're blind countering mech like Darking seems to be doing, it actually works really well, so he's a bit lucky that Hit 'em Up, well, unless he's planned this, obviously, that Hit 'em Up is going for this double factory opening. Oh wow, this is 2 facts off of 1 base as well. He's not building a command center.
Yeah, see, this is what I was wondering. Like, tell me more about it. This blind counter. Anytime anybody blind counters something, either they get lucky, which means that they're, normally a bad player, or they get unlucky, which also means they're a bad player. So blind countering something, I mean, if you really know the guy, then go for it. You're a Gosu. But I would say that outside of like the top players really mind gaming each other, Like when you're playing ladder, nobody blind counters anybody, okay? And if you do, good luck. I really hope it works out. But I would say usually blind counters are not that effective, unless you just really get a hard read.
Yeah, now, I guess he does have the option of going back and checking the old STPL VODs as well. I know there are actually a couple of players that do that, well, at least more than a couple anyway. There was a team that was essentially waiting for me to get the VODs from the end of last season uploaded because they wanted to check what the other team was doing. So there is a lot of planning, especially in a team league, that could come into it. Now, Darking is not only kind of blind countering mech, luckily, because he hasn't scouted anything. I mean, he's going to scout that there's no command center yet, which is a bit of a red alert here. But it does mean he's playing a risky style, because if Hitmap never goes to scout that base, he is going to be miles ahead, even if he's going for bio. So
yeah, well, that's the other thing. It's like it's so dependent on scouting. Like, this is what makes good players and bad players. It's like, I mean, macro, micro, like APM, whatever, but like also scouting. So, I mean, if you look at Flash, some of the stupidest games that Flash wins that he shouldn't are because he sneaks a 1 HP SCV through a Zergling sunken wall, gets into the base, and scouts your 1 hatch lurker. Like, he literally beat Shine. Shine had him dead to rights, and he like got a 1 HP SCV up a ramp it should never have gotten up, and scouted the build. And I'm like, okay, well, like, what are you supposed to do? So, yeah, scouting's also super important.
yeah,
So let's see if he can figure this out.
Yeah, I mean, he's figured out now the speed vultures are in his natural. He can't block the ramp. These speed vultures are getting it in, and this could be a really quick game, but there is some Hydralisk out already. But going for speed first means you don't have mines, and all the drones have already been pulled away.
I mean, still quite a few drone kills. Any drone kills at this point in the game really kind of hamstring the Zerg player. And these are speed vultures, like you aforementioned, their kicks. So if they just run back down into the natural, there's actually plenty of real estate that's not covered by this sunken up in the upper left-hand corner and bottom right-hand corner. So they could definitely get into a place. Right now, huge victory here for Hit 'em Up. Dead drones, lack of mining time, and you're keeping the army back on their side of the map. Feels good, man.
I mean, normally I'd agree with you, but there's a big difference compared to normal here. Darking already has another base, and the drone saturation over there is really good. Hitmap could use this and see this and kind of misjudge just how far ahead he actually is, because Darking is already back on 20 drones.
Yeah. I mean, that's you are correct there, Kicks. The misread is it's maybe a little bit real here. I was checking for scanners, but then I realized, wait a second, this is mech, so you're not going to have an academy as quickly. So this actually is kind of a liability of this version, is that your ability to see what's out there on the map is dependent on speed vulture scouting, not on scans.
Yeah, now, I'm not sure if we set latency, but a couple of people in chat were saying it seems a bit slow, so I don't know if you want to quickly check that, but I mean, look at this. We've got Darking with a Sunken coming up in his third base, his Spire's coming up in his third base as well, and there's no way Hitmap is going to be able to scout this. As you said, you skip your academy for quite a while when you're going mech, depending on what you've scouted. And he's seen the entire main, so he thinks, well, I know everything that's going on, but unfortunately, he doesn't.
What is this, Kicks? The Hydra busts don't work versus Terran because the siege tank exists. Like how are you gonna dive past a bunker and buffering Goliaths to kill 2 siege tanks, which you're gonna 2-shot your Hydras? Well, in a second.
In a way, it's a bit of a risk again, because while Hitmap didn't know what Darking was doing, or at least he still doesn't know what Darking's doing, Darking didn't know what units he was building. Now, if Hitmap continued to build Vultures, to continue to try and pressure or switch entirely into Goliaths, all of a sudden a Hydra bust can actually work really well, because if you think he killed something like 8 Vultures, that was 4 rounds from both of his factories. And that's a huge amount of units to be losing, but luckily enough Hitmap did, because he scouted the Hydralisk go into tanks, so he does manage to survive.
Yeah. Thank goodness. If I had to watch Terran player die to Hydras. I'm just like, what did you do to get to this point? Like, you would have had to have skipped mines, and he skipped mines. And so I was like, well, but he does have those 2 tanks. Now, granted, he has nothing else. He has no ability to harass the Zerg player anymore, now that their Sunken's up, and actually maybe the northern base is still a little bit vulnerable, but he's still figuring that out.
Yeah, the funny
See
thing
this
is, he's double
Mr.
scouting with
SCB.
SCVs, so he
Yeah.
knows there's something weird going on. He's like, well, you must have a hidden base or something, but he can't
Yeah.
find it. He keeps checking the wrong bases. And look, he's trying to block the other natural now with a depot. But Darking isn't gonna. Well, okay, Darking's gonna send a drone up there anyway. He just doesn't care. He's like, okay, you scout my drone, whatever.
I love this. Both players are mind gaming each other, but it turns out that Darking is actually kind of winning the mind game lottery. And there's still all
Oh,
of
is he gonna
these
get in?
Hydras out on the map. Looks like the answer is yes. Surprise! Gets up, sees the creep, and knows that, wait a second, there's already a base there.
Yeah, now he scanned twice, but didn't scan the 3rd base, and the issue is his SCV didn't see how long it had been mining for, so for all he knows, that's just finished. Like, he has no idea that that base has been there for ages, but here we go, the mutas are coming into the main, and there's no turrets or anything!
Now, he might want to pull back the Hydras, or pull the Hydras into the main here. And now he's actually focusing down the armory. Unfortunately, he's not there in time to stop either +1 or, well, I guess +2. Yeah, he's going to focus it down so he can't build more Goliaths, but, I mean, at this point, you've already just got quite a few, and Carapace is only halfway done.
Yeah, but, I mean, there's very few Goliaths, the turrets aren't done, so all he has to do now is fly around into the natural. Goliaths, like, people don't mention this as enough, but Goliath's pathing is almost as bad, if not worse, than Dragoons. So, if he can
If not worse, the Terran bias. Oh, I love it.
Well, I don't know if you've ever
worse.
seen Goliaths, but they waddle around a lot worse than Dragoons do. Like,
I've seen Goliaths a couple times in my day, kid.
I mean, you should try controlling them, man. It's impossible. Like, either way, look at how many mutas there are. There's not enough Goliaths to deal with this. Oh, but he's going in before Carapace is done. This is a big mistake.
Yeah, what? This is such an anti-timing. It's like you literally just researched Carapace, now you're suiciding your mutas. You don't even have to suicide them, dude. Like, you can literally just keep them away.
Wow, he's gonna win the fight anyway. That's
crazy.
Bouncing
glaives is actually amazing. Now, I don't know about win the fight. Let's not use the W word yet, because he will still lose, like, thousands of resources worth of Mutalisks. So, let's not, be apologists for the mutagenocide here. Like, mutas have feelings too. So, he will need a chaotic amount of mutas more if he wants to come back and make this happen.
Now, interestingly, Hit'em just scanned between 2 bases to see if he could see creep. Now, unfortunately, it wasn't close enough to the main base to see the creep there, and if there was a base here, he wouldn't have seen that either. So, he's going to push up to the main anyway, because he knows the drone went up before, and we're going to have to see if Darking can actually hold on, because Hit'em's +1 attack is done. Like, usually against mutas, you would go +1 plating, which wouldn't really help him here, but because he thought he was up against Hydras, he's actually got better upgrades.
That's an excellent point, Kix! He actually does have really good upgrades comparatively to what you would expect. Let's see if he can dent this base. Obviously, this base is like, the newest base, or I guess second newest base. The upper right's not really mining yet. But let's see if mutas can save the day. Obviously, you don't want to go in too early, but I don't think there's enough Goliaths here, Kix.
Yeah, this is going to be difficult, but more Goliaths reinforcing from the back. You really do start needing vessel energy when it comes to this. So, but look at this, the mutas are taking so much damage from the +1 Goliaths.
I love that the Goliaths are splitting so that they don't take the glaive splash damage, but there's still not enough. And now everything here is going to die, but the base has taken enough damage to stop the mining for a little bit longer, and I mean, the push is still there. Wisely enough, Hit'em's going to try to pull back some of his tanks. But both players have actually lost a ton of units and resources.
Yeah, now, interestingly, Hit'em didn't micro those the last Goliaths. If he'd moved those back a bit, maybe he could have kind of microed more mutas down. But he's got so many factories, 6 already off of 2 base. He's reinforcing very quickly. and he actually killed all of the Hydras that Darking had, so Darking doesn't have that many units anymore.
Well, I mean, it's a Zerg player versus Terran. You know, if you have a lot of units, that's just I think you're doing your job wrong. Like, you got to get out there and throw away your units over and over again. This is mass mutas, and this is almost exactly what I was talking about earlier in the game, where I was like, some players just put down 3 hatcheries, exactly like you did, and throw out more mutas with carapace than your opponent knows what to deal with. And now, I'm actually kind of wishing he would go for +2 carapace. That's the big brain build.
Yeah.
But I think I'm not sure if that actually changes the breakpoint if they have comparable upgrades or not, because you know they're going to get mech weapons ASAP. But it's still +1 weapons versus +1 muta carapace. So let's see what a million mutas can do here, Kicks. They're all up top. It's 2 control groups of mutas. That's almost 20 mutas right there. And we're going to need to see them really hit hard here. I love how he's buying as much time as possible, wants as many units of his to pop out. And here we go. Ooh, sacking an early muta or 2. That's not the way it's supposed to work.
Yeah,
even as they spawn. Yeah, the mutas are going down, but there's still quite a few. Let's see who wins, Goliaths or mutas, Kicks.
I think the Goliaths are going to get this. There's just way too many of them. The mutas are taking so much damage. And, I mean, he's going to lose the base regardless. He is on 5 bases, but he can't afford to lose this much gas worth of mutas. And he's going to lose 2 of his bases immediately. There's no hive, so there's nothing that he can... Oh, there is hive, sorry, but there's no Defiler Mound.
But see, like your Zerg, and one of the huge benefits Zerg has is that you can switch your tech incredibly quickly. This amount of Goliaths literally just max Zerglings and A-move them across. These are unsieged tanks. And keep in mind, there's no vultures, so there's not going to be mines out on the map at all, which are huge against Zerglings. And like, vultures do much better against Zerglings than Goliaths do. So, I mean, I think that continuing to commit to mutas is not the right call, especially because he's so close to Adrenal upgrade.
Yeah, now look how clever Hit 'em Up is as well. He's killed the top 2 bases, or at least he's essentially killed the other base. And he's just pulling back. He's like, nope, I'm going to regroup my units, and then I'm going to push towards your main, because this 3rd base isn't really doing anything. Yeah, it's mining gas, but the gas is already depleted. One thing about this map is the 3rds have 2,000 gas. So, I mean, Hit 'em Up is playing this perfectly. He knows how to play his mech here.
Yeah, I mean, you make a compelling argument there, Kicks. It is clear that he clearly also just does know how to play this matchup. Now pushing in with a million Goliaths. This is almost exactly how I watched Seriosity kill 80s Mullet the other day. Or maybe it was Doc Holiday, I forget. Either way.
Probably
Doc. This is a struggle.
Yeah, there we go.
And there it is.
Darking taps out. And Hit 'em Up takes game number 1.
Oh boy, wow, what an experience here, Kicks. We both got a chance to watch what I feel like started out as like, you know, a friendly game of 2, you know, best friends playing StarCraft, and then ended up as kind of a total tragedy for any Mutalisk anywhere in the world, as they were fed as cows to the slaughter into +1 upgraded Goliaths. So don't try that at home, guys. You need a lot of mutas.
You do. We'll be back in just a couple of minutes with game number 3. Obviously, game number 2 was a walkover win for EF, so that means we're 1-1 as we head into game number 3. See you guys soon. Hello guys, we are back here for STPL Season 2. We're here for aSh versus EF. We've just seen game number 1, it was pretty exciting TBZ, where unfortunately the Zerg player learned the harsh reality of how strong Mech is. But yeah, this should be a fun matchup next.
Once you commit to the Mutas versus Goliaths and you keep committing to it, like you know, kick in the old noggin eventually. Like, more than just Mutas exist. I'm simplifying things, but yeah, congratulations, hit him up. Obviously incredibly strong player, so can't take anything away from him.
Let's introduce our next two players here. We're starting off with Radley for aSh. It is the Ghost King himself. I can't really talk about Radley because I'll talk about him for like 5 years because I love watching him play. But
yeah, also keep in mind, even those losses were moral victories in many cases, just because he used nukes in quite a few of them, a disproportionately large number of them. So keep in mind, let's remember, even in the charge of the Light Brigade, the winners couldn't be there if it weren't for the losers. So even the losses lead to the wins and are involved in them.
Yeah, and just to give a quick example, the game against Bonneth, I know in the Pylon show last night they were talking about how Bonneth is so far above every single foreigner. Radley nearly beat Bonneth going mass air, so let's not talk about that too much, but that was a really sick game. That's actually in one of the STPL ads I made. But his opponent for EF is going to be Blaze. Now Blaze hasn't done too well. He's actually played 4 games already and lost 3 of them, so a little bit tough for him, but he did beat Chobo, and he lost, well, I mean, the most recent game he lost against Zealot on Whiteout in a really sick game. So let's introduce our next map. It's going to be one of my favorites from this season. It is Multiverse. You may have seen this in the most recent ASL season. In fact, that's probably the only place you would have seen it other than spawn matches. And it's a really cool map.
I concur, Kix. I think specifically the kind of cool thing is that you can spawn very, very close by air, and you can actually get really greedy, and a lot of Zerg players will try to triple expand and then knock down the assimilators to try to wall off their side of the map. Plays a little bit like, what was it, New World? Was that the name of the map? I forget. It was like a semi-island map where you and your opponent were on one side, and then you were kind of walled off from the other island part of the map. Jadong tried to do it.
Third world.
Yeah, third world. That's what it was. Anyway, yeah. Reminds me a little bit of a third world with your opponent maybe on the other side.
Yeah, hopefully we'll get to that. It is going to be a TVP, so we could have a long game here. Let's get into game number 3. It's Radley versus Blaze. Okay, spawning us off here in the bottom left-hand position, we do have the yellow Terran fighting for aSh. It's Radley.
He's also fighting for truth, justice, and the American way, Kix. I assign those qualities to anybody that ever nukes anybody, because it's you're fighting the good fight out there, my dude. Anyway, his opponent is Blaze, playing Terran for Eternal Friends.
Yeah, if you don't know who Blaze is, he recently changed his name from Jihu as well, if anyone's watching and they're like, I haven't seen this Terran player for EF yet. But yeah, that's why you maybe don't recognize him from previous games. I think his new name is definitely a lot easier to say, so I'm not going to complain.
Yeah, I don't think you have anything to worry about there. Imagine complaining about that. So just to kind of get into it, a TVT, I feel like the only mirror matches we've gotten lately have been TVPs or PvPs. So TVT is a little nice. Obviously, this is a matchup that can go very, very long, but hey, Kix, the supply depot is halfway done, and there's an SCV out on the map for Blaze. I'm worried, Kix.
Now, it's not going to be an 8 racks or a BBS. Doing this is actually It's weird to say this, but building your barracks in the middle of the map is kind of standard. You don't see it as much anymore, so I guess it's not really the true standard, as it were. But in 2008 to 2010, or even 2011 and 12, like if you weren't building your barracks in the middle, you were just handicapping yourself. Because in TBT, the likelihood of anyone actually bothering to try and 8-racks you or BBS you is so unbelievably low that you may as well just build your barracks in the middle.
Yeah, the only thing is that you still have to make sure that they still don't cheese with it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously it's later than if you're gonna go BBS or something crazy stupid like that, but the idea is pretty simple. It's like, hey, this building doesn't matter in this matchup anyway, I'll just use it to scout.
Yeah, there is a few very weird games where you saw Bio versus Terran. One of the most famous ones being Boxer versus Hire on Bluestorm. What an amazing game that was. I actually watched that again the other day, and it is of course very rare because tanks just completely annihilate everything that is biological. So without very specific situations, it's never going to work. Now, you can see that Blaze isn't even going to bother building a Marine. Okay, so he has built one Marine. Sorry, I thought that was his SCV scouting. And he's just going to poke in with it, see if he can maybe catch an SCV building a command center or something. But he's likely just going to turn this around as soon as he can, or if he gets in any trouble.
Well, consider this. Radley's going to scout, but he can just attack this SCV down. Like, there's no Marine. The second Marine will be sent back to base, but keep in mind, this is the barracks in the middle of the map pumping Marines kicks. I say pumping, but it did just now stop after manufacturing, I think, 2 Marines. But look at this little guy!
Yeah.
Killing SCVs in the main!
Yeah, it's pretty funny as well, because Blaze sent his Marine out into the middle, just to try and... Actually, wait, was that Blaze's Marine or Radley's Marine? Okay, it must have been Radley's Marine. It died to an SCV as well.
Yes. So that was obviously quite humiliating. But this is still kind of interesting because you almost never see Marines built from the proxy barracks. Usually you just lift it and float.
Yeah, I mean, the common thing to do is maybe to build 2 of them, but it's only because if you have 2 Marines, you don't die to BBS. Because one of the most humiliating things you can possibly do is build a proxy barracks, and the other person BBS's you or 8-racks you, and you die to it because your barracks is in the middle of the map. Now, I'm not saying I have any personal experience with that, but Terra may or may not have done that against me, and I may have lost to it. So it's difficult, but luckily enough, we didn't see that here. Looks like Radley is going to be trying to put on a little bit of pressure. Obviously, he is quite far behind economically, and using his Vulture and his 2 Marines, he's going to run into a bunker, which is not fun.
Well, I mean, it's fun for one of them, Kicks.
Yeah. It's not fun for Radley, though. But maybe
no, certainly
all
not.
he needs to do is build a cloaked ghost and he walk past the barracks. That's it. The bunker, even.
Yeah. So a huge divergence here is Radley, like you said, building a command center, whereas Blaze is building 2 more factories. So, I mean, I don't need to kind of spell this out for you. The 2 facts coming through, and I don't know if Radley can really keep up with this level of production. He's just so far behind.
Yeah, so it's kind of funny how TBT works, but we're going to see Radley likely going into tanks first. And we're going to see 3-fact Vulture coming in from Blaze. Now, this is a very common follow-up to a quick command center like we saw. It was a 1 barracks fast expand. The second gas isn't taken yet either, which is a massive tell. So Radley is going to have the stronger units. And if you build a wall at your front with an engineering bay and barracks or something, all of a sudden the Vultures aren't going to do anything. And he is going into a starport, so he's going to have quicker dropships or even wraiths.
I mean, we'll see. I still don't know exactly what he's going to be going for from the starport, but at least it's flexible. A little bit of scouting at the natural, just make sure nothing's super stupid and hidden way back behind there. Also keeps the barracks safe enough to the high ground to make it just a little too annoying to deal with. But hey, check out what Radley's doing. He's already realized he doesn't want things on his side of the map, so he's taking down these assimilators.
Yeah, you know the best thing about this, when Blaze is going for 3-pack Vulture, he needs to, well, he wants to try and do some damage, but he's not going to be able to if Radley can kill this. It's on 9 health, 4 health, 1 more hit, and it goes down. So all that's left is one single path down here in the bottom left. And Radley could break that, but the trouble is he's not going to worry that there's 3 Vultures on his side of the map. And they're about to have speed as well.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. These Vultures are going to be so annoying to deal with. They're just... It's not just that they're fast, it's that they're so much faster in comparison to everything else. Now, thankfully, tank hits are hit stun, so they don't just like zoom by. And with good SCV blocking, actually, Radley might be able to kill off these Vultures, but oh, hear that sound. The SCVs, how did they... Oh my god. SCVs just explode.
They do. They die so quickly to Vultures. Now, unfortunately, Radley does not have the other area closed off, so these Vultures are going to continue pumping through.
Yeah.
And when mines are done, it's going to be so bad.
I'm like, okay, so you broke down 1 and then 2 of these simulators, but you didn't take out the others? Like, so you this is what happens, like, when your parents told you to do the whole job. This is what they were talking about. I mean, thankfully now Radley's kind of realized that, wait a second, he's just massing Vultures everywhere all the time to kill all my workers. So he's gotten his worker count right back up there, and he has enough tanks to try to... Ooh, took out 1 tank there, but Radley, rather... Wait, he actually doesn't have any tanks at all. What? Why does he only still have 1 factory? Ooh, kicks.
Well, he was
kicks,
going...
I think this might be it.
Yeah, this is going to be difficult. Radley obviously going to be in a massively bad situation. He was trying to go for Cloak Wraiths, which is where all his gas went, but Wraiths kill Vultures so slowly that Radley's going to take a ton of damage. And look at this, he's got 2 tanks in the middle of the map that he can't get back into his base. There's too many mines everywhere.
Kicks. I think we might be in trouble.
Yeah, I think we may be watching a person die here, Rapid, and it's not fun, obviously. TBT, even if you lose a load of SCVs, you can still hold on, but Radley is going to be unable to deal with these. Now, a tank pops out, takes a mine hit immediately. It's going to take another... Well, it's not even going to take the other mine, so that's unfortunate. And there's just so... Oh, no, he lost one of his tanks to mines in the middle as well. Oh, this is unfortunate. Poor Radley.
Yeah, I don't know how much more we're going to see from Radley. That's it, GG. Damn, I was... Excuse me. Really getting my hopes up for that one, Kicks. It's kind of weird. That was only an 8-minute game, but it felt a lot longer than that.
Yeah.
Am I just like on Blizzard time or something? I don't know. But
that
hey.
game was soon TM.
Yeah, if there's a fasterest speed option, that's kind of what we watched it on. Because I don't really think I got a chance to see Radley really accomplish almost anything. I think, yeah, just kind of maybe suffered on the macro with that build. That starport really never kicked in at all.
Yeah, I mean, he got 2 Wraiths out. And the idea behind the build is he was trying to rush to break down the middle, and unfortunately he just couldn't do it. So I've got the next replay loaded up. That was a super quick game, so if we go straight into the next one, that should make things a little bit quicker. But this should be a pretty exciting matchup in itself, because it's going to be a PvZ. Our first player here is going to be Dreamer for aSh, with once again the most sophisticated picture I think I've got for anyone in the STPL. And Dreamer's a pretty strong player for his team, 41% win ratio. He did come over from MSJ from last season, if I remember correctly, and definitely one of the stronger players on aSh.
Yeah, that's one of those... What's that subreddit where like all the single like bachelors is /r/bachelor pad picture right there? It's like this guy 1000% owns hand warmers. Like he has a reed diffuser in his house, and I'm not just saying that because they had to buy the royalty rights from me to name it that. But no, fancy guy. Let's see what he has to say about game number. Wait, what is this? This is game 4, right?
4, yeah. I mean, his opponent is going to be Chaelin. Chaelin, one of the stronger female players in Korea, one of the... Actually, I'm not sure how many actual female tournaments she's played in, just because... Either way, she's a massive streamer on Twitch. Does a lot of streaming, really quite popular on there as well. In the STPL, she's had a few problematic opponents. I mean, the last game she had was against Scan, so that's obviously not going to be an easy game. But again, streamer here, this could be a chance for her to definitely show off more of her skill. It's a shame she doesn't have like a better YouTube link, but unfortunately she doesn't have a custom link yet. So hopefully that's something that can get sorted in the future. As we get into our fourth map, it's going to be on Whiteout. Now, Whiteout, 3-player map from ASL Season 7. One of my favorite modern 3-player maps as well. The forest in the middle, obviously blocking the vision, making it a lot harder to push through. And in PvZ, we've actually had some pretty sick games on here so far, so I'm looking forward to this one.
I am as well. And also, it's just really cool to watch Chaelin play. Obviously, she's super good. If you watch her stream, then you can learn about that. Like Kick said, it's pretty popular. So, yeah, it's going to be cool to see. I would say Dreamer, kind of an underdog here, but aSh, a very good team. And we haven't seen either team win yet, so one of them's got to, Kicks. We're forcing them.
Yep, so let's get into game number 4. It's Dreamer versus Chaelin here on Whiteout. Okay, starting us off here in the green, in the top right-hand position, we do have Dreamer, the Protoss player fighting for aSh.
That's right, and on the other side of the world, in the teal or malachite color, this is Chaelin playing Zerg for Eternal Friends.
I still think they have one of the best clan names. It's so strange, but it's so good.
It actually reminds me a lot of, you remember, like there used to be this TL staff team in STPL?
Yeah.
And then they renamed to something similar to Eternal Friends. It was like Best Friends Club or something. I don't know.
What happened with them was they and FBW were 2 separate teams in round 1, and then they joined in round 2 to become Team 9. So maybe you're mixing up with someone else.
Well, I heard some other proposed names, but yes, that was what was decided on in the end.
Yeah. Now, Dreamer has sent out a probe pretty quickly. It's going to be a Forge Fast expand for him. Very normal to send your probe out super quick, because if you scout certain things, you can maybe switch to a gateway instead. But looks like the Forge is going to be coming up very soon. Now, this is probably going to be a gateway. No, it is going to be a Forge. I thought it was just going to prove me wrong. But overpull for Chaelin.
Overpool versus Protoss? Kicks. What's going on here? This
Yeah,
build is too crazy.
We're getting spoiled by build diversity from our Zerg players in this matchup, man. Overpool all day, every day. I guess there's a reason why. It's definitely the best build, so...
Also, just want to say honorable mention to these Mr. Overlords. They did scout the... I think the second Overlord scouted the probe moving out on the map, right?
It looked like it. I mean, the probe did come out very quickly, but Zero did say that the Overlord held for a second to wait for it, so that's pretty sick.
Okay, well maybe that's what I was talking about. Yeah, the scouting the probe gives not only your first Overlord, but specifically your second Overlord a lot faster time to get into position. Because if you scout with your second Overlord, obviously you're going to be scouting to the other location, which is kind of why you would like drone scout. Here comes the drone out, but this is obviously going to be for a hatchery.
Yeah, but
but
it's an interesting choice to go further away, but we could see a more older style, because if we were seeing a more normal sort of Hydra aggressive opening here, Chaelin would definitely be taking the middle base, but I guess she's planning to play a little bit more of a macro game. But this hatchery seems off, like hex wise. Feels like it's one too far over, unless I'm really blind.
I think so usually you can judge by the doodads around the hatchery to see if it's on location or not. I would say, yeah, I think this is actually fine. It just looks like those mineral patches are very far away. They are actually quite far away.
Yeah, it's so confusing. The distances in this game can be a bit strange, and it doesn't look like there's actually any doodads on this map that even like layer it out. Like usually you will have like maybe a plant or something that makes sense, but all of the bases have different doodads. So
The natural expansions have doodads to show you where to build it.
oh yeah, they just have that like set of grass, so I guess that makes sense. Now, Dreamer did see the drone go out, but did not see where the hatchery is going up, so Dreamer's going to be trying to scout down into the bottom right, thinking that Chaylin will be going for another natural, but unfortunately for him, that's not what he's got planned. Now, all the while this probe is out on the map, it's not in the main base scouting what's going on, so Dreamer is pretty much in the complete darkness right now.
It's a cold, scary world out there. Yeah, so Dreamer's gonna try to get this probe scout to just see anything, to desperately figure it out.
Oh no!
What's going on here?
Oh,
Wait,
that was
no way.
close. I thought the Zergling
What?
was going to get the probe because the the probe got stuck in the corner, but he is going to scout where Chaylin's third hatchery is. That's super important. Oh my god, the Zealot actually held for a second and waited for the Lings to leave the base, so it's going to get into the main.
This is what I was talking about with like flash scouting. It's like, no matter what, you're always just gonna assume that it's gonna get in. And obviously this is huge. You're gonna see not only Lair, but Spire, and all of a sudden, I mean, it just works.
Yeah, you nearly get three of the Lings there, which is actually pretty impressive given there's a lot of surface area behind those minerals, but we've already got Dreamer with a good defense back at home. Only a single cannon though, which I always worry about when I see. There is going to be a Templar Archives coming in for Dreamer though. First Corsair going to be out, going to be able to scout as well, once again. But by the time the Corsair gets to the base, there should be Scourge on the way, so it's going to be a bit more difficult.
Yeah, I don't think that it's gonna get like free super scouting forever and always, you know, or anything like that. Spire just about to finish up. And he's there. It is. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so Chaylin with a load of Lings out on the middle of the map at the moment, just making sure that there's not any big +1 Zealot timings coming or anything. +1 is not actually been started yet, so Dreamer delaying his upgrades. Now this isn't very normal for PvZ, and when you look at what else Dreamer's actually building, he's not really got a huge amount of anything else going on, so I wonder why he's chosen to delay that upgrade.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it is common, but it's not like it's 100%. So he is not going to go for that. Instead, Evo Chamber actually coming up, along with going up to 5 hatches. And I don't know. I mean, I don't think it's a mystery what's coming. I guess as a Zerg player, you're never super able to figure out what your opponent is exactly going for. But this time, it's +1. With DTs.
Yeah, and on Shaylin's side, she's actually going for Overlord drop. So, wait, is this Overlord drop or no? This is definitely. Wait, I always get confused between Overlord drop and speed, but speed would make the most sense. Yeah, I think this is just speed, isn't it? It's definitely not Overlord sight range. I can't believe I saw that upgrade. I don't think I've ever seen that upgrade before.
Wait, which upgrade?
You know the Overlord sight range that I think it was JU upgraded by accident
antennae.
or something?
Yeah.
I don't think
No,
I've ever
antenna's
seen that before.
super
Oh my
stupid.
god. The DT in the main has got 10 kills.
Okay, well, I guess that's how this game ends.
Oh my god, DT's getting this amount of damage is so ridiculous. Like, I really can't understand why Zergs don't keep
he's
a
killing
single...
the overlords hatching from the eggs. Oh, I love it. This is so stupid.
Look, that did you 30 damage to eggs. It's ridiculous, man. How is this fair? But it really does make me wonder why Zergs just don't automatically leave a single overlord in their main. And he's even going to focus down the Hydras now one by... Oh my god, he's going back for another overlord egg.
Oh, this is so stupid. Actually, this overlord's gonna get in there because of, you know, obviously overlord's speed, and so the DT It's gonna get taken out, but obviously, that guy died a hero. And you know, some people would say, well, isn't it still a stupid DT because it still died in the end? I was like, yes, sometimes it's not what you live for, what you die for. And that was like 12 worker kills.
Yeah, and also countless overlords as well. Chaelin having to cancel those over and over again is a massive deal. It's a ton of minerals to be losing. And look at this, the Corsair's coming back in, gonna try and get a lot of these overlords in the third base. And if she does that, there's a DT ready to come back in. Oh, okay, no, that's actually Hydra. The DT ran away. Never mind. But still, getting these overlords is massive. It's heavily supply blocking Chaelin now. Oh, but you don't want to lose them. Oh, losing 2 of those Corsairs.
No. Okay, well, I mean, was that really worth it, Kix? I would venture to say no. I mean, obviously, 60 out of 30 supply is a struggle. You're not going to be maxing out on Hydras with that kind of numbers. But on the other side, once you lose your Corsair numbers, that means that as you develop a gateway army, you're always really worried that they're going to switch back into mutas unless you really replenish that, which you don't want to at this time.
Yeah, now luckily enough, he did save 3 of the Corsairs, but still it's a big problem. Chaelin, though, is wasting a lot of trouble trying to find this other DT that ran away. Chaelin, knowing that she took tons of damage in her main, has actually redroned up very, very well, despite actually being supply blocked for ages. So this is quite good for her. Now, Dreamer has got his Templar now, and he is going to go out with a push. Obviously, with a ton of Storm available, this is going to be hard for Chaelin because all she really has is Hydralisks. Oh, there are some lurkers now.
Yeah, but like, I mean, the Hydras are the real, like, I don't want to say damage dealers. The lurkers are just there to kind of stall and buy time. I mean, that one actually got quite a bit of damage off from these spines, but oh wow, a Storm accidentally kills an Overlord. And, of course, the Lurker purposefully. But, man, nothing is going to fight this Protoss army straight up at this point in the game.
Yeah, not only that, it's so hard for Chaelin to engage under this forest because she doesn't have any air units there. So the Templar, despite running at like 2 miles an hour, managed to walk away from the Hydra vision range. So all the High Templar survived. Now, Dreamer is interestingly going back. Rather than pushing the envelope, which I think would probably be better here, he's just going to try and take a third base. And I mean, Chaelin doesn't really have anything that can combat this.
I mean, that is a fair critique. What are you supposed to do against that? I mean, what do you think they would do if this were, you know, a normal game without any of these like shenanigans? Actually, right as I say that, these +1 Hydras are headed out across the map. Let's see if they can actually, no, the Corsairs are not anywhere near them.
Yeah, the Corsairs aren't going to be able to catch all the Overlords, but really good Overlord spread by Chaelin, just trying to see everything that's going on. I'm finally going to see this DT in the bottom left, but is Dreamer going to be able to hold on?
Actually, yeah, running away from it. I think if you're really intelligent, you can assume that the Overlord is taking a straight path direction, but now the DT has juked it. But this is also right as all of these Hydra Lurkers run in, and I gotta say, Kix, not a lot of damage. Didn't force a... wait, they did force the cancel.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait, there's an Observer here. Where did the Observer go? Okay, there's 2 of them now. I was like, he's taking so much damage from those 2 Lurkers. But yeah, the DT, I think, has been on patrol this whole time, but luckily enough, it did dodge the first Overlord. But, I mean, Chaelin just lost so many units. The Dreamer is going to have the power to push, and Dreamer, despite going for a late 1 attack, is actually on 1-1 now, so 2-1's go, or 2-2 is probably on the way.
Yeah, it is, in fact, Kix. We're about to see +2 Hydras here, and that is that's quite damaging, to say the least. And I think as a Protoss, you might not really expect that. You expect to be able to like punk a few Hydras by just running Zealots into them. But with +2, actually, this is a huge timing by Dreamer. He's hitting right before this +2 is done, which obviously makes the Zealots last so much longer.
Yeah, and those Storms have been so good so far, killing so many units. Chaelin is plummeting in supply now. Chaelin obviously as well, trying to push out from this forest, causing a lot of problems. And that's all of Chaelin's army down, I believe. Well, it's not all of it, it's 47 drone supply. But Dreamer can finally push these bases.
He is doing that. Obviously, the lurkers are doing their job correctly, buying enough time, forcing out these storms. And how many storms we got left, Kicks? 2.5, looks like. So it should be enough actually to hold on. I mean, the Zerg army is actually, I mean, obviously Zerg is going to have less supply, but still kind of struggling.
Yeah, Chaylin tried to push in through the forest again. I just showed her vision because even though she was running in lurkers and hydras, they couldn't actually shoot at anything. So another massive storm on Chaylin's army. Dreamer is doing an incredible job, and I don't know how I managed to right click that, but there we go. Dreamer's pushing straight through. Chaylin, I don't think she's got much life left in her because although she's up to 4 base, she can't contest this army.
Well, actually, like, look at these lurker spines. These are actually, this +2 is actually what's doing the most of the work. There, that was a much more even trade than I expected, and there's only 1 storm left out of like 5 High Templars. So, I mean, the resources are running a little bit low here. I mean, the like storm and unit resources, not the actual like minerals and gas.
Yeah.
For Dreamer. So he's gonna kind of pull back and wait for round 2. But in the meantime, this means it's a 4-base Zerg, and they're not, like, Chaylin's not that far behind on drones.
Yeah, Chaylin's economy is crazy right now. Usually when you're seeing Zergs like this, they don't have as many drones because we'd see maybe some storm drops or something like that. And this is coming off of the back of Chaylin losing 12 drones earlier to a single DT as well. That's ridiculous. But, I mean, Dreamer's army still incredibly strong. 2 1 upgrades are finished. Looks like he delayed 2 armor, and +3 attack hasn't finished yet, but Dreamer, unfortunately, only being on 3 base, can't really afford it.
Yeah, I mean, you say only. 3 base is not terrible, but the 4th base is obviously what's super crucial. And Chaylin has to understand that. And especially with the High Templar count growing, I'm actually really kind of... I would have expected Mutaswitch by now to stop that from allowing her to break through the big sunken lines.
Yeah, this a little bit unfortunate here for Chaylin, but Chaylin does manage to get the 4th base up. Dreamer is almost mined out in his main and natural, so Dreamer is on a little bit of borrowed time, does need to get his 4th base up himself, maybe even go for a 5th base. And we'll have to see if there's going to be like a late game tech switch, because one of the big things that Protoss opt to do, especially when you go above 4 bases, is you start going Mass Arc on Mass Reaver, and there's no Robo support base just yet.
Yeah, I mean, not yet. What have we been doing instead of the Robo Bay? I mean, obviously it's almost done, but it's not up yet, like you said, it Kicks. So
yeah,
we are going that direction.
But
I think you're kind of
building.
To do it.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Well, yeah, there it is.
Yeah, there's a Kadar and Amulet coming in, so these Templar are going to have a ton of Storm. Now, Dreamer's doing a really good job of zoning Chaylin away from the bottom right-hand side of the map. And this is obviously where Chaylin really wants to go, because if you take this base, you get the other main, and you get the other natural, and that's another 10,000 gas. So if Dreamer can stop that, maybe he will get the favorable split of the map. But it looks like Dreamer's still just trying to rotate around and just see if he can kill any stray bases.
Yeah, and I really like that. I think Dreamer poking out right now while he's expanding behind that is super smart. Obviously, you don't want to lose your army, so that's why he's not making any like super crazy moves out there. He's just pushing to try to get some position, some agency back on this map, and not just allow Chaylin to sort of like freely expand all over everywhere, which she might actually be able to do down to the 6 o'clock location. But let's see if Dreamer can put on too much pressure to keep her mind on that.
Okay, oh my god, the DT is hiding behind the tree. That's kind of cool. Oh, here we go, big engagement at the front. There's going to be Dragoons on, well, Dragoon Zealots on Lurkerling action. And it looks like Dreamer has a massive army here. Does Chaylin even have enough units?
I mean, it's not looking likely. It's 40 supply advantage right now. And, oh man, Dragoons, how good are they, right? It's plus 2 weapons, plus 1 carapace or armor there for our Protoss player Dreamer. And I actually should be no, it's just plus 1 carapace for Lings. So obviously that's going to help them, but you know, you're going to need some additional support.
Well, they do have Adrenaline, and Adrenaline against Dragoons for Lings is a massive upgrade. The Dragoons can't really focus down the Lings quick enough. And Defilers are done now. Consume is almost finished, I believe. There was no Consume in that engagement. But Dreamer's army is 90% Dragoons. If you can get some Dark Swarm on it, get some Plague down as well, all of a sudden Dreamer's army is just going to melt. Looks like her Consume must have just finished, as Plague is now on the way. And it's going to be really difficult to for Dreamer to actually push in after this. He needs more Zealots.
I mean, yeah, what are you supposed to do? I mean, he's going to try to push in with Dragoons. Spoiler alert, that may be met with some adversity. Now, obviously, the 12 o'clock or 6 o'clock location is pretty open for interpretation, but it's just kind of a stepping stone to get to the other, I guess, what do you call it, 7 o'clock base. So yeah, he's going to break up the ramp because there's like 2 Zerglings guarding that. But even if this base goes down, or the attempt at this base goes down, there are actually other locations that we can go. Like we've already, I'm just trying to figure out. Oh wow, the shoe is on the other foot here, Kix.
Yeah,
we went from having the Protoss player way up in supply, and now Chaelin's really macroing.
Yeah, Chaelin is doing a crazy job. So many lurkers, but unfortunately burrowing all of those lurkers right next to each other. But the swarm is so good, it's only cannons up here to defend. And look at Dreamer's army, it's Storm and Dragoon. That can't deal with lurkers under Swarm, or Storm maybe can. But it's a finite resource.
Also, it's Reavers and Storm, and both of those do so well against Dark Swarm. So you can see the Storms just right underneath, and Reaver will be able to clean this up eventually. But still, I mean, these Lurker Spines are not healing the Protoss army, that's for sure.
Yeah, and there's going to be a big play coming in here soon. Defiler getting Storm, though, needs to use the energy. Okay, there's the play, gets a Reaver, doesn't get too many Dragoons, though. So Dreamer is still in a good spot. Chaelin. I mean, Chaelin's still on 110 supply and has a really big bank at the moment, and so many hatcheries that Chaelin is going to almost be able to auto-replenish this army. And can Dreamer hold on his other bases? This is going to be so difficult.
Yeah, oh man, this is so difficult. I'm actually just watching to see how we're going to break up this ramp down here. I think we're not, and we're going to lose all 3 of our Defilers. So we've lost 2 out of 3 Defilers up here. This is a full energy Defiler that will die without doing anything. So,
yeah, that's a little bit unfortunate. 1 swarm there, and the lurkers may have got at least to the ramp, but unfortunately they didn't manage to get that far. The Overlord flew in and did sadly lose its life as well. And Chaelin is still only on 4 bases. There's no 5th base attempt yet from her. And Zerg can't live like this forever. They do eventually run out of minerals, and they're made of natural like Protoss do. So Chaelin needs to make something happen soon.
And you can tell that Dreamer knows that and is headed straight for the 6 o'clock base. He knows that if there's another base coming up, it's probably going to be down there.
Yeah, checks once again, sees nothing, pulls back up, and Chaelin is going to use this moment while Dreamer's army is completely in the wrong place to try and push forward again. But is Chaelin just hemorrhaging units? That's going to be the big problem. And it looks like Dreamer is actually going to opt to expand towards the top left. I would have thought he would go towards 6 o'clock.
Yeah, that is actually really weird. I mean, I feel like if you're expanding to top left, then you're just putting yourself closer and more vulnerable to your opponent.
Well, in this case, he is so far ahead in this game, nearly maxed against only 100 Zerg supply. There's a massive amount of lurkers under this swarm, but Zealots hit stuff under swarm. That's how good they are. And all of the lurkers go down again. Chaelin back down to 100 supply. A big army still, but it's just Lings.
Yeah, I mean, it's...
Oh, they did kill buildings very quickly, so...
Yes, whatever works, works. So, Lings on buildings, I'm always a big fan of that.
Yeah, Chaelin looked like she wanted to try and deny any base at 11 o'clock as well, but nothing was coming up there just yet. Dreamer's army, I guess expanding to the top left is maybe a little bit better, but the trouble with expanding towards the top left is you're not really denying any possible bases from Chaelin, but Chaelin is in such a weird position that she can't really afford to expand at the moment. She has to keep building units.
Yeah, and that's the struggle, is because eventually she's gonna run out of money. Like, the main is almost dried up, the natural's almost dried up. even the third base is kind of almost dried up here too. So lots of stuff to think about. As the Protoss army,
Oh my God, the
nice
storm!
flank there. Yeah, but the storms are actually gigantic all over those Dropper Lords, and then the Reavers surviving in the back. They do need to build some more Scarabs because they're currently not participating, but they are there, and there's almost nothing that can deal with them, even with the Plague.
Yeah, Chaylin is 100% dead in this game. She can't break into any of the bases. There's Storm at them. Obviously, these two Reavers are still alive. Chaylin is dried out of her main and her natural. And her third base is almost mined out as well. And this is the final stand. 100 supply down. Lings are pretty good, though, so they are trading pretty well with the final Protoss units for that Reaver Scarab.
Yeah, these Reavers have stayed alive for so long here. Keep in mind, if Chaylin wins, then it's 3-1 for Eternal Friends. If Dreamer wins here, then that means that the series is tied up at 2-2 and we go to an ace match.
Yeah, and look at these Archons. 3-2 upgrades on them so far. I don't believe there's actually... there is 3-3 coming in, but no additional shield upgrades just yet. I mean, Dreamer is only now mining off of the two bases again after he takes this top middle base, but Chaylin can't expand. I mean, she's taking the 6 o'clock and drones are transferring down there, but she doesn't have an answer to all these Archons and all this Storm anymore. All the lurkers she's built over and over again have been stormed and reavered to death, and now there's pretty much just Hydra, and it's not going to work, unfortunately.
I mean, he's gonna try to bust through here, and I think he's gonna be pretty successful here.
Yeah.
Dreamer, obviously a million billion Archons. Oh, God, it's disgusting. Also, the only way you can tell these Archons are on the are Dreamer's Archons is because they have tiny green swivels rotating around them on the outside. I'm just like, okay, that's it. HH or GG comes out of Chaylin, and that means that Dreamer takes us all the way to an STPL ace match.
He does indeed. Now this is going to be aSh's second ace match, I believe, in STPL history, which is kind of crazy. Thinking about how many series they've played, but getting to an ace match against a team as strong as EF is pretty impressive. Dreamer did an incredible job there against Chaylin as well. He was pretty much ahead 90% of that game, despite kind of making some weird decisions early on. But you know what? It's going to be the ace match, and it's coming up when we get back after this. Neo Arkanoid also makes its appearance in STPL Season 2, a map from 2006. It's from the OGN Star League from back then, one of the early OSLs. And it's a semi-island map. I think one of the first of its kind that got major use after about the year 2004. It's one of a kind. I don't think I've ever seen another map like it. There's temples and power generators absolutely everywhere, making it very difficult to get through the middle of the map. But air units, of course, going to be very important here. The one problem all three races are going to have is the very easy to take second and third bases. They both have gas, but they are blocked by those chrysalises, so it makes it important to build a few aggressive units early on in order to get that second and third gas as soon as you can. Important thing to note, if you do open up that center, the rush distance is very small. Okay guys, we are here for the ace match of aSh versus EF. We're going to see the return of two players who won their matches today. It's going to be Blaze up here in the top left hand corner.
And Dreamer in the bottom right. And that was top right-hand corner, by the way, Kicks.
Oh, whoops. What did I say?
Left.
Ah, okay, well, luckily enough, no one else noticed, right? So we're all good.
Now, Kicks. This map is called Neo-Arkanoid. And it's a battle of 4 warring Sith factions. You can tell because they all have Star Destroyers outside their base. But also, this is a map that Radley used to nuke his opponent a million billion times, so I'm hoping that's what happens here.
Yeah, and as I think it was someone in chat the other day pointed out, this was a very religious map because there's so many temples everywhere, which is kind of funny. But just having a look at the map overview, I know it just showed the map overview video, but essentially there are these chrysalises that are blocking the bases, so you can't expand super easily, but it's not exactly difficult to break them through. And there are an absolute ton of these neutral buildings in the middle of the map, which makes it very difficult to push through as well. But we saw in a ZVZ that it is possible to go through them very quickly, so don't count out aggression just yet.
Yeah, for sure. Especially if a Zerg player is like super rushing you, they can break through those neutral buildings very, very quickly. Like we're talking like 230 quickly. So let's keep an eye on how this is gonna go. I think at least just from the openings, just because it is a TVP, we won't see anything super crazy from either side. I don't know. We haven't seen a TVP cheese in a long time.
Well, I guess the last cheese we saw, which kind of got overshadowed by the rest of the game, was Radley building 2 racks in the middle and going bio.
Well, I mean, let's not include Radley in our normal games that we are considering for statistical analysis.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Now, we do have 14cc coming in from Blaze. Dreamer is instead going to go for an early gateway in Cybercore, so Dreamer could possibly be going into Reavers here. That's actually a very good choice on this map, and it can also catch a lot of people off guard if you're playing super greedy like Blaze is.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say Blaze is playing. Well, okay, yeah, this is super pretty. I mean, you can afford to do this because you can. It's basically an island map to start things off. There's so much destructible terrain between you and your opponent. So A, not only is it hard to scout, but B, you can kind of expand to 3 bases for free. After that, though, that is an entirely different story.
Yeah, and this is going to be Reaver. There is a Robo coming up already. We do not have an additional Nexus coming up anywhere, so it is going to be 1 base Reaver. We'll have to see how well Blaze can actually deal with it. He is going to be going into his first factory only now, so if we are going to see a Wraith follow-up against any possible shuttles, it's going to be a while away, so this could be a pretty quick game, Rapid.
I mean, obviously, the only thing to worry about this... I mean, there's a lot of things to worry about this game. 1 is overgreed, and 2 is Scarabs. So, I don't think we're being too greedy for... we're being a little bit too greedy here. I don't know. I'm just crossing my fingers here, Kicks.
Yeah, it's going to be difficult for Blaze now. Looks like we are finally going to have that support bay coming in. Shuttle coming up immediately. And now one thing I hope Dreamer doesn't do, which is a very common mistake I see, is trying to drop some units into your opponent's base. Now, I know that seems like a really good idea when they've just finished their first factory, so there's going to be no upgrades, there's going to be no mines or anything. What it does is it gives the Terran the ability to think, hey, they actually have the ability to drop, so now I need to go anti-air. Whereas without that, you may think, well, they're playing as greedy as I am, but there is going to be a starport on the way.
Yeah, I actually kind of like the starport, especially in reaction to, what is going to be very, very fast, shuttle reavers.
Yeah, now he's using Dreamer's using the shuttle here to actually scout where his opponent is. Now, I wouldn't say that's the most common thing to do when your Reaver is actually going to pop out and your shuttle's not going to be on location, but at least it blocks one of the possible bases away from him. And now Protoss do have a little bit of trouble scouting on this map early on, but we'll have to see if that's picking up into it. Now, no second Reaver on the way, and no shuttle speed either, so we're going to see Dreamer expand after this, as the Nexus comes up.
Yeah, I don't think that I don't know, how big a deal is this? Do you think that securing this Nexus just gives a Dreamer the ability to play for another 20 minutes?
It's possible, but Dreamer is definitely going to need to do some damage, because the issue is when you go for this kind of build, you're in trouble, and the Blaze has already scouted it. The depot gives him vision over that. Now, there isn't actually any anti-air still. The first Wraith is about to finish, but there is a Dragoon in here with this Reaver, so this first Reaver Scarab is going to be very, very important. Okay, 1 SCV so far.
Yeah, I'm like, this is not impressing me, Kicks.
And this is the problem. There's going to be a Wraith here now. This Reaver is still doing damage, so 12 kills now. Those last 2 Reaver Scarabs have been massive. 14
Oof.
kills on 1 Reaver. That is exactly the damage that Dreamer needed to do.
Wow. Is this an even game? Blaze stopped making SCVs at some point, Kicks. He was down to 20 for the longest time.
Yeah, this is so strange. I mean, he was, if you think about it, he lost 14 SCVs, so he was on 35. So 35 on 2 base is actually pretty decent. So maybe he decided, I'm going to stop SCVs, build finally my upgrades up, because he's forced to build an academy. He still does not, well, he's just found out where his opponent spawned. Blaze is in a bit of a weird situation here. And this is one of those weird games. Usually when we get this kind of situation, the Terran doesn't take a ton of damage and the Terran is super far ahead, but losing that many SCVs early on, like, this is really going to hurt Blaze. Now, Blaze is forced to go into Tank Vulture. Necessarily, you don't want to bother with any Vultures at the moment because they can't do anything. But we are going to have a drop coming in, so we're going to see if we can get some counter harassment done. Okay, so the dropship's going to load up, see if it can go down to this bottom right-hand corner. Now, does Dreamer see it? No, I think Dreamer just missed it with his observer. So oh wait, the Dragoons are trying to move into a location here at the moment, I think. Yeah, so Dreamer must have just seen it. Gonna drop into the pizza wedge. Wants to make sure that he doesn't get ghosted like his, well, like Radley did to someone else. But here we go, the Vulture's gonna drop in now. Interestingly, the probes run into the Vultures, which is not a place they want to be in. And I don't know if we've lost Rapid here, but we'll just keep on going and we'll see what happens. But we've got tanks coming down here. Blaze is going to try and take his 3rd base. And Dreamer is going to take his 3rd base as well. Now there is a tank, or there's a dropship even, getting taken down by this cannon. So, I mean, Dreamer is playing this perfectly. He won the last game with an excellent play. Oh my god, there's going to be another big Reaver drop in the natural here. The shuttle's going to go down. And unfortunately, the Reaver cannot waddle quick enough to catch up. But it is going to take out these turrets. Those Scarabs were taking incredibly weird paths. And unsiege tanks against tanks, unsiege tanks against Reavers is not something you want. We're going to see the comsat going down. This is a huge amount of damage. Although maybe not as much as if low SCVs have gone down as well. Okay, 3rd command center on the way. At 2nd Reaver lost for Dreamer, going to be a big problem. And Abby keeps calling them mercenaries, man, but they're not necessarily mercenaries when they are legit members of the clan, and they've been a member of the clan for ages. So there is going to be another series after this. It's not 3 AM in Korea, but it's actually around about 4 AM now, I believe. Unfortunately, Rapid seems to have disappeared off somewhere, so he can't actually confirm. But I imagine maybe he's getting something ready quickly for his trip, because in a few hours he is going to be making the trip to Russia for the Corrupted Cup. He's going to be casting it in English alongside Artosis. That should be a lot of fun. So do check that out this weekend. Before this weekend is done, we're also going to have another STPL cast. I'll be doing that solo, but we're going to be going through 3 series, and they should be pretty good as well. We're going to be finishing the evening on a classic matchup in STPL. It's going to be IRK versus White Clan. Now, we've got another Reaver dropping down. Oh my god, the Scarab's going to bug for sure. Yeah, there we go. But the Reaver moving forward. Can he get another Scarab? No, he cannot. And all the shots going to go down to Goliath. Can he get away? Can he get another perfect Scarab? The Reaver dropping very early. Getting 2 kills. Can he get another Scarab off? Yes, he can, but it does bug out somehow. And another Reaver shuttle goes down. Dreamer has been playing so well. But look at this. We've got no Observer here to deal with the tanks. The tanks are going to be able to get this Nexus. Okay, the tanks getting this Nexus would be absolutely massive. The Wraith did actually, or he did actually scan and kill the Observer. And this is one of the problems that Protoss have on this map. But just imagine if Dreamer had those 3 shuttles that he'd just thrown away. Without doing too much damage, he'd be in such an amazing position right now. And look, Blaze is just going to go straight over to this other pizza wedge, I believe. No, he's actually going to reinforce this one, even bringing the Hurt Marine. Now, there is finally an Observer here, and we do have a shuttle, but 2 Goliaths and a Wraith against a shuttle with 3 tanks and 2 Vultures. He's going to need more units than that. The base goes down. There's no base down here in the bottom left. Man, this is going to be a very difficult position for Dreamer to be in. Dreamer going to look to take down these temples. I mean, Blaze back at home, getting more, or loading up more and more units, bringing them over, just really securing his position in this pizza wedge. Okay, it looks like we've got some weird, like, big grudge match thing going on in chat, but in terms of the actual game, the Zealot's going to drop off in this pizza wedge. Another 4. Oh, he's not dropping them out. They got stuck. There we go. 3 of them do get down, so he is going to be able to clean up this location. But for how long? There's going to be more dropships coming in. He's going to get the other pizza wedge. And Dreamer, despite doing such a good job earlier on, is suddenly in a big amount of trouble. This is very difficult here for Dreamer to deal with. Blaze making use of the map mechanics perfectly and making use of the fact he knows Dreamer has lost pretty much every single shuttle that he's built this game. This is what happens when you have a Terran player that knows what's going on. It can be very difficult on this map. Now, of course, Blaze does need vision himself of the Nexus. You can have a look here. And using scans means you're not checking for other bases. But here we go. Scan does go down on the natural again. And look at this. Another 3 dropships coming in. What does Dreamer have that could possibly deal with this? We're going to have Arbiters coming in. But Arbiters aren't going to help. There's going to be the shuttle going down to Goliaths. I mean, this is just way too much damage here. Another shuttle going down. No Zealots in there. So many tanks. And Blaze looks like he's going to be taking the first win here for or the first match win. And there we go. Dreamer, unfortunately not having a good idea of how to play on island maps. Doing an amazing job early game, but falling off at the end there. Really, really unfortunate. But, of course, a great job done by Blaze there to win that game. He took so much damage early on and still managed to do it. Now, just going to bring up the results for that series, and then I will get everything ready for the second series after a quick break. But let's have a look. Obviously, Eternal Friends getting the win in the end. That's actually properly added into the database, which is good for me. And if we have a look here, we can have a look at the final results. Now, obviously, we only saw 4 games in this series. One was a walkover, but hit him up in game number 1. Did a great job against Darking on New Tornado. He kind of showed the power of Terra Mech Pinkbrush, winning a walkover win over Too Many Leagues. Blaze taking a win over Radley on Multiverse. Unfortunately, that game wasn't as long as maybe it could have been, but Radley getting caught off guard by a 3-fact Vulture play. Dreamer taking out Shaylin in map number 4 with a dominating victory over her. Dreamer did an incredible job there, and then unfortunately Dreamer throwing away too few many Reaver shuttles working a little bit too hard to get damage done, and Blaze winning with those drops in the end. So well played game by aSh, and a well played game by EF as well. EF are going to get the win, and they're going to be happy with that. We'll be back with series number 2 after this short break. See you guys very soon.